All right, let's try again. That was good. That was exciting. All right. Well, thank you for being here for the maiden voyage of this of our pre-scrimmage, I guess, notes. Yeah, too hot for the cameras. Yeah. What about the players? I don't know how they're doing it out there. I feel some of those big guys too, especially lugging it around.
You and me are standing here dripping
Yeah.
sweat. We're not.
We're in the shade, dripping sweat.
We're not in 50 pounds of gear either. You know, we're not slamming into other people running around. It's hot as nine hells out here. I mean, it's
brutal.
Like I said, it's hot as the devil's butt on chili night. I mean, it's just it's ugly. The players are out there around, and you're right. They are dripping. They are. Kirby's got to keep them hydrated, and Kirby's pushing them. This isn't a soft, hey, let's have a fun little scrimmage. We're supposed to get minutes. He cut it off early. He's like, I go to 7-on-7, 1 versus 2s, 3 versus 4s. Let's go on the hop. I mean, Kirby is geeked up about this scrimmage. He wants to find out what his team can do.
Yeah, and you got to think. I mean, look, it's brutal to be out here in this heat. There's no question about that. But I mean, you cut your teeth out here in this, you're going to be ready for when those September games roll around and it's blazing hot at noon against Arkansas State or 4 o'clock against Murray State.
Well, what about a hot, humid game at 8 o'clock against Notre Dame?
Now who do you think will be better prepared for that?
Yeah, and the Georgia guys are going to be like, this is great, 8 o'clock at night.
It's dark at least. Brutally hot today though, but had a chance to go out for the whole 7 minutes, got to see things on the practice field. Roddy, anything that as soon as we got out there?
I went looking, of course, for DeAndre Swift to see how he was moving around. He's moving fine. It's Brian Hare, DeAndre Swift, Zamir White as your 1, 2, 3 guys right now. We know Swift is kind of coming, held out of a practice, then only went halfway through another one. So he's kind of coming back, working his back into 100% health. He was not injured. That crap cleared up right now. He did not have an injury. Had some other issues, probably heat related for all we know. But he's fine. He's back. Then I started looking at the offensive line, and you have Andrew Tom, of course, starting at left. Solomon Kinley right behind him, probably be an all-SEC guy. Big Trey Hill, even though as hot as it is, he's moving around well. Then Cade Mays, and I'm going to make a prediction here. Cade Mays is going to be your starter.
Over Ben Cleveland. That is going to be my prediction. All right.
Okay, I don't know that.
Is that as of today, the entire practice?
Yeah, well, and again, they're moving around, but I just think that
I think he's too good to keep off the field personally.
Yeah.
And now Ben, that's not to say that Ben's got the leg up with experience. There's no question about that. But when it comes to just raw talent, I think you got to give a nod to Cade. He showed that last year, obviously coming in, having the a whole another off season to work in strength and conditioning and get everything right. Just a tough guy to keep off the field if you're trying to put the best 5 out there possible.
And then your fifth guy, picking your best 5, of course, Isaiah Wilson, who looked out there, and talk about a guy who's dripping sweat. Of course, I don't know how much more weight he can lose. He looks fantastic. So your offensive line looked great. Behind them, you had DeMarcus Hayes at left tackle, Justin Schaefer at left guard, Clay Webb at center, then Ben Cleveland as the backup right guard, and then Jamari Sawyer, who's lost a lot of weight, looks good, working at that right tackle spot.
Yeah.
So, we talk about getting your best 5 on the field. He's in that 6, 7 group, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, that's a guy who, people thought of him, number 1 guard coming out of high school, but had the capability to play anywhere, especially that you said getting his body right and being in tremendous shape here. And
remember, they need tackles.
Well, remember, too, he was not really enrolling last year, so that hampered the development just a little bit. I think, or didn't hamper it, but put him behind, I guess, some of the other guys who were out there. I had a chance to watch inside linebackers today. As usual, Glenn Schumann there running around in his sweatpants and sweatshirt. He's an insane person. But what I did notice was didn't see any Nakobe Dean with that group. I don't know where Nakobe was. I didn't have a chance really to scan the whole field for him. Pretty focused on those guys, but didn't see him running out with that group. So, definitely expect for our guys to ask Kirby about that during the press conference today, what was going on with that. But otherwise, guys were looking good out there.
I worry. I should say I worry, but it would not surprise me if you hear this bell rung. Because every time we see a guy kind of not out there, we found out there have been quite a number of concussions.
Sure.
And again, you play football this level, you get dinged up, and now they're so much more proactive, and they take you out much quicker. You get your head popped, all of a sudden they're going through the protocol. If you miss any one thing on it, they take you out, they arrest you, they go through it, and you have to pass. I'm not saying they're being overly nervous when it comes to concussions and that Georgia's got too many. I'm just saying that they're erring on the side of caution because that's probably the number one concern in football right now. So,
Yeah, well, that speaks more to the era of football than the program itself. I think that you would see that in programs across the country. Now, very interesting note, we did get Mark Anthony Dasher. He had a chance to watch the cornerback work, and while Eric Stokes was out there, as you might expect, running with the ones, a new name flashed out there for a couple of those reps. And that was
Tariq Stevenson?
Well, that's a good guess for sure. But to him, wasn't Tyson Campbell either. It was DJ Daniel, the JUCO.
No. We told
corner.
DJ Daniel is not good enough to play cornerback. He's too small. He's going to South Carolina. There's no way he can come to Georgia, step in, and play with the big dogs.
Well, the thing about DJ Daniel, I think that a lot of people forget is how fast Daniel is. And I know that a lot has been made of Tariq Stevenson's speed, Tyson Campbell's speed, Eric Stokes' speed. DJ Daniel's a guy who can run with those guys. There's no question about it. And the element of the JUCO experience. I mean, GMC is a great JUCO program. Had a chance to work with great coaches down there, play against some good talent as well. So a guy that it would not surprise me to see press for that spot. But I got to still give the upper hand to Tyson just for the game experience and, elite upside in that kid.
And it could also be a situation where, just like with the Cade Mays, Ben Cleveland thing, they're like, okay, let's give you some reps there. It doesn't cost you anything to put him in there, let him get reps. Hell, you're at some point, you look at some of those early games, Georgia's going to have a lead.
Sure.
And if you want your second string quarterback to get better, put him up against your first string wide receivers. Put DJ Daniel and Demetrius Robertson. Put him on Kyrus and let him cover those guys. Let him cover George Pickens. Yeah, you get better doing that. So again, we try to read. I don't want to read too much into how these guys move around, but it's interesting because we did the same thing last spring. We said, hey, Eric Stokes, we're hearing good things about him, and then all of a sudden he was a second team. Then we saw him get like 1 or 2 first string snaps. Then midway through the season, that sucker's a starter. So sometimes this is an indicator of what's coming.
And I'm trying to tell people too, don't be so wrapped up in the starter title this year, because Dan Lanning made it very clear when he had a chance to meet with the media. He said, look, we're not looking for 11 guys. It's not a question of, we're just going to be playing 11. They're going to be rotating guys in at every spot. They want to keep these guys fresh. And what's great for Georgia in that regard is they've got the depth to do that now. You've got to feel comfortable with the second string guys. And somebody just asked, anybody on the third team you've seen that has impressed you yet? I think, I guess you would say Tyreek Stevenson's running with the third team, and I think that he's really good so far. I like, for a freshman, a guy I don't know that's going to, make a ton of it right off the bat, but Lewis Cine, is a guy who has really caught my attention out there. Love the length of that kid. Love the way that he moves. Very fluid when he's out there on the field. So anybody that's stood out to you in that regard?
I don't know. To me, you'd have to start looking at the wide receivers. That they're running 2 side by side. So you'll see, like Matt Landers and Tyler Simmons going first, then Demetrius Robertson, and Trey Blunt or something like that. George Pickens. Technically, he was on the third.
Sure.
He was in the third rotation. Is he third right now? I don't know, but it's too tough to get into the third string guys because they flip so many reps with the second team. The only place you really get a good feel is first and second, and not even with the defensive line, because you kind of know Jordan Davis and Todd Clark are going to be up there. You assume David Marshall, but I got word that he might be a little gimpy, might have had a minor setback. But when it comes to here's the first string, here's the second string, the only place we ever see that's with the offensive line. Even then, we know they're moving guys around and trying things. So I wouldn't get too caught up in it and worry about it. This team is one of the deepest teams I've ever seen.
Yeah, there's no question. And you had to hope that was going to be the case. These are Kirby's guys at this point. There's very few holdovers. What do you got? Tay Crowder still around?
Maybe Ben?
No, Ben was part of the very first signing
class. That's true, yeah. He was. Okay.
So I don't even know who's still hanging around from that other than Tay.
Justin Young?
Yeah, Justin Young, definitely. You're right. So definitely, these are his guys, and you get a look at, the mold that he wanted to put this team in. Clearly, depth always a concern. He mentioned that coming in the press conference. They wanted to make sure that they were just as strong in the 2s and 3s as they were at the 1s. I think that they're in a good position when it comes to that right now, and I think that benefits you, like you said, in these hot practices and in those early games.
I'm wondering if our fans can hear Kirby coming over the loudspeaker there. He's on the PA. He's yelling at players. As we were walking out, he was DeJuan Mathis, wanted DeJuan to do something. Then it was he was yelling at Devon Wilson and I think maybe Tariq McGee or somebody. It's another secondary guy. No, I think it was Stokes.
Okay.
Yeah, he wants him in zone. Get back in the zone. You're not in zone. I mean, he's just. How is he not hoarse by the end of it? Because I mean, the entire time we've been talking, he's been yelling.
I think. Well, I think that Kirby Smart's voice probably just sounds different if he quits coaching football. I think that that's just what he sounds like all the time now. But I think if he were to ever quit coaching, he'd be like, "Hi guys," you know. I mean, like, you have to. It's just permanent. I think.
Yeah. It's. I'm not trying to get too much caught up in the Kirby yelling. It's instructive, you know, and he's nonstop. He sees all these different parts. I guess the reason I'm bringing this up is this is Kirby's team because he yells at the offense just as much as the defense.
Sure.
So like I said, in that one example, he's yelling at DeJuan Mathis, and then he's got two of his corner guys. The secondary is always baby, but he wants his quarterbacks to do as expected. So he's, again, we'd have a great practice report if we just sat here and wrote down notes of everything he was saying. But, of course, it's kind of bouncing around. It's an echo. We don't know exactly what he's saying, but it'd be pretty good if we did.
We got a question there. It says, McGee hasn't come up a lot. Is he going to be able to contribute meaningful minutes this season, do you think? I think that he will based on his experience. I think that that's really his saving grace at this point. I do think that a guy like Devon Wilson, probably a better athlete at that spot.
Well, he's bigger.
Yeah, and Mark Webb is a guy who also has factored in there a lot, and a lot of people like what they've seen out of him. I think McGee, though, clearly has the edge when it comes to his experience in the system, and plus, you know, I love my peach guys, and he'll hit you in the mouth.
Do you want a sure tackler?
Yeah.
Are you in a situation where you need a guy who's going to bring them down? Now, sometimes, you know, hey, you had an extra linebacker, you know, a bigger guy in there, but if you need someone to tackle, you bring in Tariq McGee. I mean, that's not saying he can't cover. I'm just saying if he's in that star spot, you know, or he's one of those corner spots, that guy is going to bring him down. He's not the biggest, but he drops him. So I definitely see Tariq McGee getting playing time. Again, to your point, they're not looking for the top 11. Even if you could pick a top 11 on defense, you're going to have some of those early games where you're going to be up by 21 points.
Sure.
It all goes well, you know, I'm not going to simulated wood, you know, over here. But you have a situation where you're going to need other guys to come in. And so I don't want to say, well, that's not real time because they're playing real Georgia football. So bring those guys, bring in the young guys, get them experience. But it would not surprise me to look up and see DJ Daniel, Tariq Stevenson, and Tariq McGee on the field as in your two corners and star spot.
Tremel White there. Sorry if we missed your questions. We'll try to get to loop of background on a couple, but Tremel White asked, he said, it sounds like Matt Landers has been running a little bit with the ones. Anything we can take from that? Do you think he can hold on to that spot?
Can he do it every day? That has been Matt Landers' problem since he's got here, from what people tell me. And I don't mean it, you know, he can't do it. He can't. He can play at the high level. He can't do it every time. If he becomes consistent, he's your starter. You know, he will start for this team. But right now, we just have not seen that. You know, so he'll make great plays. Hell, he's had two phenomenal springs where everybody's talking about Matt Landers, and everybody's talking about him in the summer, the off-season workouts, the volunteers, the 7-on-7s. But when they're in the stadium here, on ones versus ones, he's got to beat, you know, Eric Stokes. He's got to beat Tyson Campbell. He's got to beat Daniel to hold on that spot. If not, they've got 17 guys. They're just waiting to take it. So.
Well, you mentioned consistency. Also, I think it's an issue of experience for him. A guy who has not had a lot of game experience. You know, the opportunity probably to get. He's not running with the ones, as you said, probably get some reps in these early games, a chance for him to kind of cut his teeth, get comfortable in the offense, and do it in front of the crowd. So I think that that's going to be important for Matt Landers for sure.
Any other questions?
Let's see here. Let's see, yeah. Let's see. Any guess on? Any guess? Evan Gatchell wants to know. Any guess on punt and kick returners at this point? It's not something we got to see a lot of them practicing, but
let's terrify him with the one that we heard about.
Go for it.
We heard DeAndre Swift was back there returning kicks and punts. That makes me nervous. So Samir White is not back. Me, you got to think James Cook, Kieris Jackson. Those are two that I would look at right off the bat. I love the idea of James Cook returning. I mean, we've seen that. Kieris Jackson is another Mecole Hardman with his shiftiness.
Sure.
You know, it's a tough guy. And he's strong as an ox. He will actually break a tackle. He doesn't have a running guy. He can break a tackle too. So, Josh Robertson will be a phenomenal returner. So,
you've got options.
Yeah.
Jay Mobley says.
Again, it comes back to consistency. Who can catch the damn ball?
And Jeff Dyer mentions possibly Dominic Blaylock might be going to work back there. I don't see why not. I like him.
Blaylock in a heartbeat.
Jay Mobley says, did the O-line look better today? Honestly, I don't know that we saw enough to. They keep them pinned up when we're out there that it's a little hard to tell. Bob Mack says, is Amir Speed getting any meaningful reps? Always liked his length and physicality. He's a guy that I think probably right on that 2-3 line, I think. He has a chance to establish himself with some consistent play. I mean, that was a guy that coming in, they had really, really high hopes for. I think it's just an issue right now of been some guys that have come in a little bit more talent, a little bit more consistency over him. But make no mistake, that length and what he can bring to the field, I do think it can be attributed for this season.
It would not surprise me if they put him in more of a goal line situation. Hey, let's put in this big body. If you're going to throw that corner fade, you're going to have to throw it over Amir Speed. And again, Speed doesn't have to worry about, chasing in a 9 route, 40, 50 yards downfield, on the go. Doesn't have to run step by step with him. You can do that with Eric Stokes. You can do that with Tyson Campbell, two of the fastest guys on the team. But let's say, they're trying to trick you down the red zone. I'd bring in Amir Speed. And to your point, he has been working that 2-3 line. Charlton Warren is on him every day. Amir fixed this, Amir fixed that. It's a good thing. If they're not telling you what to fix, they're not thinking about playing you.
Right.
It's like when Kirby Smart jumps all over Richard LeCount 2 years ago. Just follow on every practice because he expects him to play. And it's a bigger deal if a guy you expect to contribute does something wrong than not. So I can definitely see a situation where he gets a little more Amir Speed in there. But let me bring up this one issue for all the times you and I ask about another player. First stringer, the second stringer, who do you take off the first string instead?
Who do you take off?
Off the first.
Yeah.
So it's the number one issue when it comes to getting rid of, or not getting rid of, a second string guy moving up. Somebody's got to move down. So right now, I guess that's kind of sometimes why we focus on the starters so much, because here are starters. But we get a lot of questions about how's this offensive lineman looking, how's this secondary guy looking. I'll deal with it.
There we go. All right. We're gonna get these audio problems worked out. Anyway, let's get out of the sun. You gave me long enough out here. This has been my pay grade. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure to get in here next week. No, next week we're closed on scrimmage, I believe. So, but make sure that you're on UGA Sports page. You're here right now. Go ahead and subscribe. Click the like button. Share this with you if you would. And make sure to tune in on Tuesday because we'll be back with Coach Don and for UGA Sports Live.
Take care.
Thanks, guys.